Boosie going to jail! Oh, God! Oh, God is good. I keep telling y'all, street got no God. God do not look after street. Boosie really thought he wasn't going to jail for that pistol. I knew he was going. I just was waiting.
A lot of things this case has stopped me from doing, traveling all across the world, making. So I just want to get it over with and, accept my guilty plea. I'm ready to get over with.
Anything you want to say to your fans?
Just say a prayer for me. I just need prayer. I don't need nothing.
Charleston White was celebrating you taking the plea deal. I think he even said he hopes you die in jail and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard it.
The biggest thing right now was that you actually accepted a plea deal for your federal gun case.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been fighting this thing from the very, very beginning?
I've been fighting for probably 3 years now, probably.
3 years.
Boosie been fighting demons for years, but now it feels like the walls are closing in. The feds came down hard, and this new federal gun case flipped his world upside down. Word is he could be staring at 10 years. And the second that news broke, Charleston White jumped out the shadows. Charleston was all smiles, trolling like crazy, dancing online, cracking jokes, bragging like he'd been waiting on this day. He even said he didn't care if Boosie ever made it out. Cold-hearted, but that's Charleston. Chaos keeps him alive, and this case was his Super Bowl. What makes it worse?
Let's picked it up.
Now, it was a state case. The feds came, picked it up. They had a ruling in the Supreme Court that went in my favor. And the case got dropped by the judge. The case got dropped.
Earlier this year, Boosie admitted he was tired, even talking about a plea deal. He claimed he trusted God, but the weight was showing. Remember, this same charge got dismissed in 2023. Fans thought he was finally free to focus on music and family. But the feds don't forget. By 2024, they circled back, hit him with the same indictment, and doubled down. This time, the pressure was too much. Boosie folded, saying he was drained and done wasting energy in court. Boosie went on X and admitted straight up, God don't make mistakes, and said he was ready to accept his fate. That wasn't just a throwaway post. You could feel the exhaustion dripping off every word. Fans who've been riding with him since the Baton Rouge grind know Boosie always lived on the edge. Court cases, street beefs, health scares. He dodged more bullets than most could survive, both in the streets and in courtrooms. But this time, it hit different. 10 years ain't no slap on the wrist. It shook him heavy. The Boosie showing up online wasn't the same fire-breathing dude snapping back at trolls. This was a man who sounded tired, drained, almost broken. Like the fight had finally bled out of him. Fans flooded his mentions with love and prayers, begging him to hold on. Meanwhile, Charleston White was out here celebrating like it was New Year's Eve. He went live, grinning from ear to ear, bragging that he called it years ago, and acting like Boosie's downfall was his personal victory. Then Charleston really crossed the line, saying he hoped Boosie would never make it back home. That's insane, even for Charleston. But being outrageous is exactly why his name never leaves the blogs. What makes this saga even crazier is that Charleston's beef with Boosie didn't just pop up overnight. It's been brewing for years. Charleston stayed lurking, waiting for Boosie to slip, and when he smelled blood, he went full throttle.
On the jail! Oh, God! Oh, God is good. I keep telling y'all, street ain't got no God. God do not look after street. Boosie really thought he wasn't going to jail for that pistol. I knew he was going. He going to jail. All that newborn baby. Boosie won't get to see that newborn baby till that baby be walking and talking. Boosie going to jail!
Their drama really took off in late 2022 when Kanye West shook the culture with that infamous White Lives Matter shirt. Boosie was quick to call it disrespectful to black folks, and plenty agreed. But Charleston, he flipped the script. He hopped online blasting Boosie for even speaking on Kanye, and from there, it was battle. And he didn't stop there. He dragged Boosie's son, Tootie Raw, and even T.I.'s son, King Harris, into the mess. He clowned them, said they couldn't fight, and even predicted they'd end up in jail. That's when people realized Charleston wasn't just another troll. He was aiming straight for the jugular. He targeted family to make it sting deeper. The streets expected Boosie to snap back like always, but shockingly, this time he stayed silent. Instead of snapping online, Boosie played it cool and calculated. In an interview with Tony the Closer, he admitted that running his mouth too much could land him back behind bars, especially when kids were dragged into the drama. So he kept his composure, saying he wasn't about to let Charleston bait him into saying or doing something reckless. That move showed a whole different side of Boosie. Not scared, just strategic. He knew Charleston's goal was to make him explode, but he refused to give him that satisfaction. Still, you could feel the tension boiling, and by early 2023, it got even hotter. Charleston was already trolling T.I. about his so-called paperwork party, and that's when Boosie's son Tootie finally snapped. Tootie fired back, calling Charleston old and messy, even telling him to go die.
He brought you up because you were attacking Kanye because of the...
Nah, that was, guess Kanye West shit just happened. Nigga been coming at me. He been coming at me. It's just, you know, I can't respond to those people, bro. Like, that's a danger to what I got going on. You can't take no risk of losing this shit behind, you know.
But Charleston being Charleston, he didn't just brush it off. Nah, he turned it up. He went live spewing pure venom, saying, "I hope your daddy dies from that diabetes. I hope they forget to send him insulin 1 month." Who even says that? That wasn't trolling anymore. That was hateful. Aimed at Boosie, but delivered through his own child. And in a wild twist, just weeks later, Tootie got arrested on a gun charge. The second that news broke, Charleston was online bragging, claiming he called the police, sent in photos, and even tipped off the Department of Public Safety. Charleston even accused Boosie of being a 6-time killer who used kids to do his dirty work. Wild accusations with zero proof, but he said it loud enough for people to start whispering. At that point, their feud wasn't just online trolling anymore. It crossed into real life, with Charleston actively trying to tear down Boosie's name and drag his sons into the mud too. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get uglier, 2023 came swinging hard. Not even 3 months after Charleston clowned Tootie, Boosie himself got picked up in San Diego, right after a court hearing.
I ain't really got no opinion on him because, you know, my opinion can send me to prison. So I ain't really, you know, I ain't really got no opinion on him. You know, once you go to threaten people's kids, talking about you out of line. So, you know, I ain't the one gonna do all that. I ain't gonna do all that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, hey, you know, certain people you can't really express opinions on, and he one of those. You can't express how you feel because you might end up in prison. And I ain't getting tricked off the streets.
It looked like the system had been waiting to snatch him back, and Charleston wasted no time making it his show. He jumped on Instagram Live, preaching like a fake pastor, saying this was God's plan, and even comparing Boosie to Daniel in the lion's den, like prison was some divine punishment. That was disrespect on a whole different level. Some fans laughed it off as trolling, others swore he meant every word, but either way, Charleston flipped Boosie's pain into content, milking it for clout. That's his hustle. By early 2024, their feud spilled into internet culture. Aiden Ross, one of the biggest streamers, was set to host Boosie on stream. A massive look, but Charleston's shadow ruined it. Boosie backed out, not wanting to be tied to him. Then Aiden flipped the script, claiming he turned Boosie down out of loyalty to Charleston. The lies spread fast, and people started clowning Boosie like he got curved by a streamer. It got so bad DJ Vlad had to jump in, blasting Aiden for siding with Charleston, a man who had literally praised Hitler and denied the Holocaust. See, that was pure psychological warfare, and Charleston knew exactly what he was doing. This wasn't trolling anymore, it was pressure. He wanted Boosie to feel the walls closing in before he even stepped foot in a cell. And here's where it gets darker. Whispers started that maybe Boosie didn't even want a full trial. He just wanted it over with. And honestly, can you blame him? Imagine Charleston White walking into that courtroom. You already know he'd turn it into a circus, pointing fingers, cracking jokes at the jury, then running to the blogs yelling, "I helped put Boosie away." That's not even far-fetched. That's Charleston's whole playbook. He brags about calling cops, tipping off feds, and even admits to testifying back when he was a teenager. That part of his past always comes back up. When he was just 14, Charleston was involved in a robbery where another teen shot a man named Michael Levy. Instead of staying silent, Charleston testified in court against his co-defendant, Antoine Doolittle. And in street culture, that's the ultimate betrayal, being labeled a snitch. Even though he was just a kid, people never let him live it down. But Charleston, he doesn't run from it. He doubles down, saying, "I was young, I was in court, I told the truth." That's not snitching, that's survival. That's how Charleston explained himself when old footage from his juvenile case resurfaced. Once again, the internet lit up, calling him a hypocrite. People were like, "How can you clown rappers for being rats when you testified yourself?" But Charleston doubled down. He said he never lived by street code anyway, and he doesn't care who's mad about it.
Oh, Boosie, you done got too much. You done let these niggas play you too, mother. This internet book dumb and it. Say what Lil Tootie gonna do now? What Lil Tootie say? Listen, Vlad TV. Vlad post everybody going to jail but Boosie. Somebody tag Vlad TV.
That's Charleston's whole trick. He's untouchable in his own way because he refuses to play by the same rules. He'll roast rappers for being rats while proudly waving his own paperwork in the air. That contradiction keeps people locked in, even if they can't stand him. So when you put it all together, Boosie's plea deal, his worn-down demeanor, the internet rumors, and Charleston's circus, it all makes sense why Boosie just wanted to skip trial and take the plea. The last thing he needed was Charleston White turning that courtroom into his personal stage show. Boosie wasn't running from the law. He was running from the chaos Charleston was itching to bring. That's what makes this beef deeper than trolling. It's personal, messy, and it's costing Boosie his peace of mind. His whole world feels like it's hanging by a thread, and Charleston White is treating it like front row entertainment. This wasn't just another rapper getting caught slipping. Charleston called it karma. He went live bragging that everything he'd been saying for years had finally come true. All the trolling, the insults, every time he said Boosie would crash out, in Charleston's eyes, this was proof he'd been right all along.
In jail, waiting for the FBI to send me the right kind of number, because I'm finna make a report on your mother people. And you make the man call your name specifically. The promoter specifically says your mother ain't Lil Boosie. He implemented you and implicated you. Finna go to jail, back to jail. You gonna be on your knees, but them knees gonna be bleeding.
He acted like the streets had just handed him a trophy while Boosie himself hadn't even processed the reality yet. And here comes Charleston, dancing on his downfall like it was a party. He even admitted he'd been waiting on this exact moment, like he'd been praying for Boosie to land back behind bars. That right there shows this beef ain't about clout anymore. It's personal. Charleston been locked in on Boosie since 2022, and every time something bad happened, he popped up to rub it in. From clowning Tootie's arrest, to mocking Boosie's health, to bragging about calling the feds, Charleston always found a way to twist the knife. It's like he won't stop until Boosie's completely out the picture. But here's the twist. Not everybody's laughing with Charleston. The streets are split. Some folks say Boosie brought it on himself, that after years of dodging charges, disrespecting people online, and living reckless, it was only a matter of time before the feds boxed him in. For some folks, Charleston ain't doing nothing but saying out loud what others already been thinking. But then there's the other side. Boosie's loyal fans who see him as a survivor, a man who's been through fire and still kept pushing. To them, Charleston doesn't look like a truth teller at all. He looks like a hater obsessed with tearing another black man down. And that's the debate buzzing everywhere, in barbershops, podcasts, and comment sections. One thing's clear though, if Charleston is this loud while Boosie's still technically free, just imagine the circus if a judge really hits him with 10 years. Charleston will treat it like his personal victory parade, live streaming, shouting, maybe even popping bottles just to rub it in. That's how far he's willing to go, and it's not far-fetched to think he'll dig even deeper. Charleston thrives on pain. The more people react, the louder he gets, and the cycle feeds itself. Meanwhile, Boosie is leaning on faith, but his words sound different now. His posts about trusting God don't carry that cocky Boosie energy fans grew up on. They sound like a man bracing for the worst. Because when you've got Charleston in your ear, the feds breathing down your neck, and the internet split between mocking you and praying for you, peace of mind feels impossible. Finding peace feels impossible right now. This isn't just about prison time, it's about legacy. It's about whether Boosie can bounce back or if Charleston's voice will echo over his career forever. And that's what makes this one of the wildest beefs in hip-hop. It's not built on music, not on street corners, not even on money. It's built on humiliation.
I'm a street kid. I'm not a criminal. I'm a kid who was raised to tell the truth. When my mama come in and say, son, what happened? Mama, I didn't do that. I got to pay for a lawyer. I got 2 lawyers, Carl Mallory and Louis Stearns. Louis Stearns became Judge Stearns, Judge Louis Stearns. But nigga, I had 2 paid for lawyers. My mama is a well-to-do mama. I'm just playing, I ain't playing. I'm an adolescent going through an adolescent stage of rebelliousness. I ain't no street. Hell yeah, I'm gonna tell on you. I've been telling since I was a little bitty boy.
Charleston White made it his mission to embarrass Boosie at every step. And now, with a possible decade behind bars, Charleston is acting like he's the king of the internet. But here's the twist. If Boosie really does get locked up, it could backfire. Why? Because history shows prison can be a reset button for artists. If Boosie comes home stronger, Charleston's celebration might not age well at all. Still, for now it's a waiting game. The plea deal is on the table, the streets are buzzing, and Charleston is circling like a vulture, waiting to feast on what's left of Boosie's reputation. This isn't just another headline. It's a story that tests loyalty, exposes fake friends, and shows who's really rooting for your downfall. So the only question left, will Boosie rise again, or will Charleston White get the last laugh? The answer's coming soon, and the whole world is watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. See you on the next one. Alling Charleston out showed just how dangerous his influence had become. He wasn't just an internet troll anymore. His name carried weight. Young streamers, rappers, and clout chasers started using Charleston like a golden ticket, chasing clicks just by attaching themselves to him. Even folks with nothing to do with Boosie were jumping in for attention. That's how far Charleston's reach stretched, and he kept stirring the pot. In March, he hopped online claiming Boosie was warning promoters not to book him. Of course, Charleston flipped it into a full-blown rant, saying Boosie was making threats and that he'd already contacted the feds. He bragged about having the FBI as his personal bodyguards and hinted he was ready to get Boosie locked up again. To cut even deeper, he dragged Boosie's health into it, clowning his diabetes and treating it like a punchline. That's Charleston's signature move. Go below the belt, make it personal, and keep all eyes on him. And the chaos didn't stop online. Boosie admitted himself that he was getting calls from people already behind bars. Dudes asking when he was gonna join them. Imagine sitting at home with a looming federal sentence, then inmates calling like they already saved you a bunk?